I think, well, there's so many things. One point come to mind. I remember the prophet was preaching on Sunday morning, and he was really preaching. And, when he gets to preaching, sometimes the Queen Rebecca and Queen Catherine, they would go and
stop him.
And would get him, keep him from going off too far. And at that time, the rostrum was about 4 feet off the floor. And in front of it was the offering table. And I don't know if many people know the construction of that little offering table. If anyone can remember, it's a round table. Well, it was a square table, but it had a round top.
Right, with a hole in the top of it. And this
with a hole in the middle.
So I want the people to know that this is not the temple we know now. This was the old church before it was rebuilt.
Temple, right.
Where the rostrum was so high at the top, like you say, about 4 feet.
Yeah, 4 feet high. And the prophet saw them coming. He knew they were going to stop him.
So he ran.
And he stepped off. He stepped off the rostrum on that table. And I didn't really face me too much, but everybody came and tried to get him down. But afterwards, I realized that table was not the table I thought it was. There was a big hole right in the middle. That little plastic thing could have easily fell through. Now, what held him up, I don't know. What held him up, I don't really know. And that's one of the amazing things. And we had one woman that couldn't walk. She's Somali. Somebody had to hold on to her all the time. Remember? I don't know if you were there, but they would have to. She was a student, and the prophet Peter and Queen Catherine was sitting on the. Queen Catherine would always sit on the left, and she would sort of sit on the table. She would lean back and sort of sit on it. And sometimes she'd be chewing gum. Seriously, she would. And the prophet Peter was to her right, and they told her, "Bring the lady out here." They brought her out, and it was told her, "Turn her loose, let her walk." And sure enough, she started walking, right there in the temple. The prophet and the queen were good at healing people. And I remember many times Prophet Peter would speak to the people, tell Queen Catherine, she said she would cheat your eyeballs out. Right. That's the term he used. I find out literally she had took a lady's eye out.
Yeah.
Something was wrong with it, and put her eye back in. There are many stories that you can hear that many prophets, even before I come, that would tell me things the prophet did, which was truly amazing. But to be there, just in the midst of the prophet, and I know when I first heard him preach, I've never seen a prophet or anyone preach in that manner. That was before I joined. I come to church and I listened to a preacher. I said, "Man, there's no way I can preach like this." It was hard for me to believe it. And so it wasn't too long after that, after I joined the church. As a matter of fact, I joined the church in 1974, I think it was. 74. And it's March. As a matter of fact, it was just before I got married. I got married in 74, I think it was. And I joined the church. And so when I did get an opportunity, I said, I'm going to go up there and find out where those speakers are. Nobody could preach. He was flat-footed like that and never changed. And I was really thought that he was like pantomizing or speaking over a speaker or something that was already recorded.
Pre-recorded.
I couldn't find out. Pre-recorded. I couldn't find out that was the prophet. I never saw anyone, heard anyone speak like him, bring a message in the way that he does. And that was one difference too. They make it so plain. A lot of times, you try to find where he was speaking from. The passage of scripture, but the words that he said, the way he put it, was so simple, where you can understand what he was really saying. You went to the Bible to try to read, you wouldn't find the exact words that he was saying, but it was plain enough for you to be able to know what he was talking about, get the message across to it. So that was some of the amazing things that I found out in the true temple of Solomon. So many different things. Prophet, I remember right where the prophet stood at the time the church, I guess, had a leak in that area, and during the service, it rained sometime, and then that little area, the panels, they start dripping down. And my heart would be beating. I said, oh, God, I hope this don't fall out on the property. And sure enough, he would stay there all the time, and nothing would ever happen. But between servicemen, it's not myself or someone else would go and punch a hole in and replace the panel. But the prophet was an amazing man, him and Queen Rebecca, Queen chapter 9. I thank God for them, and many of the prophets. I'm not, how I got here. It's not by myself. It's not anything that I've done that was so great. But by the Queen Rebecca and Prophet Peter finding favor in me, and God found favor in me. And through that, they elevated me. I think I was a minister, and I come in 1974, and the latter part of 76, I was ordained. I think it was on Mother's Day, May the 9th. Along with Prophet Aaron and Prophet Elisha, many other prophets, Prophet Zebedee, I think it was, and about 4 or 5 of us. I think we were the first. They had major prophets at that time, but had no ministers, and that was Queen Rebecca's idea. And I think that's why she brought me forth. Had done so much great, but in order to create a vacuum for other ministers to be able to come through. And so therefore, I've been given a standard to live by, and I try to live by that standard.
Beautiful. Another question for you, Father. When you talk about, again, you came to the religion, the order, because it talks about you can live, and you don't have to worry about dying.
Right.
It just made me think of something, and this being January. Can you tell me or explain to me your thoughts of Mother Rebecca during her transition? Was it certain things she did or said? I remember one time she had me call you, and y'all talked on the phone for a minute. She just out the blue said, call the priest, and then I don't remember, but I think you was one of the ones that came to the hospital.
Yes, I did.
Just tell me, how was that to see this woman that is supposed to be going through or supposed to be so sick, and how she was, in your opinion?
Probably, I remember what she called that time. She was teaching us about, and she spoke about the, was a passage about it is easy for a man to go through the camels, a rich man.
Yes.
I think it was said, go through the eye of a camel. And she was trying to explain that to me, and I was trying to find out what, type of camel it could have been. But we had a pretty interesting conversation on that. And then later on, I went to the hospital when she was in the hospital, and we sit down and talk. I talked to her directly. I don't talk a whole lot about it. Tell people, how we sit by the bedside. She began told me, I think she said it was a kidney or something. It was kind of bad, but she said she still believed that God can heal me. I told her, yeah, Queen, don't give up. You have to continue to hold on. But I think she knew overall and had made up in her mind what she wanted to do. But then at the same time, Queen Musu was there, and Queen Musu was having a problem. She looked at her and told her what to do. The Queen Musu said, you need to go see a doctor, go find out what it is, or something you need to take care of. And in other words, she was in bed, but she was still healing people, giving them advice and telling us, what to do and how to live. And so, and that saying that she said, you would have long life and good health, and you don't have to die. So her presence, even now, she comes and she still lives. Many people don't understand that type of transition, but I think she understood it. And she tried to let us know, I think through the messages talking about, the man going through the camel's eye, that God can do those things that are impossible. And he has a way. We might not always be able to see the way.
Right.
We might not be able to see the life that we consider as long life and good health. But he promised us eternal life. And I believe this is what Mother Rebecca was able to see, that which